Good evening, and welcome to This Week in Review. Tonight's stories include New Music Group, Cash for Kids program, the Council Report. These stories plus community events, the BBS Playbill, Off the Rack, and more coming up after this. Do you stutter? Or do you know someone who stutters? Speak Easy is Canada's organization for people who stutter. They provide information and support to adult stutterers, parents of stuttering children, professionals in the field, and the general public. Speak Easy offers a free information kit to those affected by the disability of stuttering. For more information about stuttering, Speak Easy, and the many services we offer, telephone toll-free 1-800-345-9022. That's 1-800-345-9022. Or visit us at thespeakeasycanada.com. Many grocery retailers across the Atlantic region are taking part in the Cash for Kids program. As in previous years, Gift Atlantic is pleased to sponsor Cash for Kids coupon program. Gift is Grocery Industry Foundation Together and is made up of members of the grocery retailers, manufacturers, and brokers, including Ingram's Foodland in Burgeo. During the month of February, every Cash for Kids coupon that is redeemed, 15 cents is donated to provide financial assistance to registered charities who serve the needs of physically, emotionally challenged children in Atlantic Canada. Some of these charities include IWK Grace, Kids Help Phone, and the Janeway Children's Hospital, just to name a few. The Cash for Kids coupons are only available at your local Foodland store. Over the past 3 years, this fundraiser has raised in excess of $1.5 million. Cash for Kids is only running during February, and coupons are only available at the Foodland store. Let's work together to help make February Cash for Kids Month. Together, we can make a difference.
The team works to raise funds for organizations across Atlantic Canada in 2 great ways. The first, the annual Spring Gala. You might be familiar with it. The second, and it's a biggie, Cash for Kids. How does it work? Very well, thank you. Cash for Kids is an in-store coupon program. Consumers will see these money-saving coupons throughout their favorite store during the month of February. They buy the product, use the coupon, and voila! Whoa! A nonprofit organization in your community gets a helping hand. Organizations such as the IWK Health Center, Janeway Children's Hospital, the Spina Bifida and Hydrocephalus Association, and Kids Help Phone. But don't just take my word for it.
We're very happy to partner with Gift Atlantic, and we're very grateful to be a recipient of the Cash for Kids coupon program. Funds from that program and from Gift Atlantic fundraising will go to support incubators at the IWK, incubators just like these, and over the next 4 years, Gift Atlantic has made a commitment to purchase 32 of these valued at $1.3 million, and we'd like to thank them very much for their support.
And all funds raised in your community stay in your community. Whether it's a big money, life-saving piece of hospital equipment or a life-saving voice on the other end of the phone, when your organization and employees participate in Cash for Kids, someone in your community gets another chance.
We've been here 11.5 weeks. The girls are now 38 weeks corrected in age. The incubators have been a great thing. They've protected them from the germs in the environment, people's colds, just keeps them warm, lets them grow, lets them have quiet and dark, things they need. I'm very pleased with the care and everything we've gotten here at the IWK. It's been the greatest experience of our lives, even though it's been hard. It's been good, it's supportive, and it's what they need.
Cash for Kids, from the Grocery Industry Foundation, together. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go make dinner. Make a difference.
On Wednesday of this week, we went to the United Church to listen to a new music group practicing for their upcoming debut. We had heard rumors that Burgeo was going to have a new group of musicians. The rector at Faith United Church, Reverend Dean Sellers, wanted some variety to the worship services at his church. He had approached George Melbourne about the matter, and George contacted Cal Beldridge. For about a year, Henry Young and George Melbourne had been chatting about getting together and playing music together. From there, June Anderson got involved, and before long, Nancy Humphreys was invited to join the group. It was a perfect match since all the people involved loved to play and sing gospel music. The group has been practicing together every week since early fall. They took a break for the Christmas season and are just getting back on schedule now. Spokesperson Calvin Beldridge told us they don't have a name for their group yet, but they hope to have one before they make their debut appearance. Sunday, February the 16th at 7 p.m. in the Faith United Church is scheduled for the first public appearance. Calvin also told us that some of their equipment is their own. Other pieces are on loan from generous individuals. Besides playing some gospel favorites, the group are looking at using some new upbeat gospel music. Here's a taste of what we can look forward to. Stay tuned for more of This Week in Review coming up after this.
The little things you do that you think are small and few are the things that mean the most to me. So just keep giving whatever you're giving, 'cause even when you're giving just a little,
if you're doing just a little, you're helping a lot.
it helps a lot.
From the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
It helps a lot.
The Canadian Red Cross has issued some winter fun tips. A fresh snowfall after a storm can beckon you out to play. When playing outside in winter, follow these safety tips. Dress appropriately. Layer your clothing so that the top layers can easily be removed when you are too warm. Wear sunglasses to avoid snow blindness and cut glare. Wear a hat in cold weather. Your head loses heat much faster than the rest of your body. Check the weather before going into isolated areas. A sudden blizzard can prevent you from reaching safely. When traveling over ice, plan your route in advance and leave a route map with a reasonable individual. Don't play in snowbanks beside roads or parking lots. The snowplow may not see you. Learn basic first aid skills from the Red Cross so you will know how to care for frostbite and hypothermia. And don't forget your sunscreen. The winter sun can be dangerous. With a rabies case confirmed in Western Newfoundland, the Wildlife Department had some information on rabies they wanted to give the public. Back in December, a wild fox was sent for rabies testing after it attacked the dog in St. Paul's near Cowhead. This case of rabies is the first case confirmed on the island since 1989. Rabies is a disease of wild animals, mostly with foxes. In this province, rabies has most often been found in Labrador at certain times of the year. During the winter, animals with rabies sometimes cross over the ice from Labrador, bringing the disease to the island part of the province. Recent cases have shown that this may be a growing concern on the island. Despite the lack of animal rabies on the island in the past, it is important to avoid any contact with wild animals. What to do if you are bitten? All animal bites or scratches should be taken seriously. If you are bitten or come in contact with an animal that may have rabies, wash the bite and contact area with soap and water as soon as possible, and you should see your family doctor. The public health office or a conservation office must be called right away. In the case of a bite from a pit, the pit will have to be confined and watched for 10 days to prove that they have not passed on the virus in that bite. If the bite was from a wild animal, the animal should be killed by the conservation officers. The head of the animal will then be tested for rabies. Animals with rabies may not look different from any other healthy animal. However, it may cause an animal to act strangely. For example, it may attack objects or other animals. It may gnaw or bite its own limbs. It may become depressed and out of the way. It may lose its fear of humans, or it may suffer from paralysis or have drooping head. Hunters and trappers should be careful when handling dead animals. You should always wear gloves when handling, skinning, or dressing wild animals, and wash your hands afterwards. Washing hands and wearing gloves will protect you from many diseases that can be carried by animals, including rabies. There are several things that we all can do to help stop the spread of rabies. Control your pet by keeping them on a leash or indoors. Make sure your pets have had their shots. Avoid wild animals, particularly foxes and coyotes that are acting strange. Report to officials any sightings of strange acting wild or domestic animals. Report any bites or other significant contact with potential rabid animals to the public health officials immediately. The Department of Forest, Resource, and Agri-Foods will have more information if you would like it. Now over to Mayor Ann with the council report.
Good evening. Burgeo Town Council, it's been a while since I gave a council report, but there's not always that much to report that would be of interest to you, the public. So therefore, in cases when we have meetings and there's nothing other than of a routine nature, it was decided that I would step back on the report. However, since the last time I spoke to you, we've had several meetings. There was one on January the 15th, and one on January the 21st regarding the budget, and then there was our meeting last night, February the 5th. And in between there have been other meetings. Anyway, I'll try to cover everything that was did in those meetings in very short order this evening. One thing which item which council have discussed in our meetings has been regarding the seals. As you know, when we were trying to get a seal tannery here in Burgeo, the provincial government alluded to that they would pass legislation whereby seal pelts would not be shipped out of Newfoundland in the raw state, that it would have to be brought to the garment stage. And we were told that this legislation, or it would be mandatory in January of 2003. Well, it appears to Town Council that that is not the case, and that Carino will be shipping seal pelts from the province in a non-processed state again this year. And for how many years in the future, we don't know. So therefore, it was agreed that a letter would be written to Fisheries Minister Reid asking what the situation was regarding the seal pelt and the garment stage legislation, and it was copied to Minister Parsons. We have not heard back from Minister Reid. We did hear back from Minister Parsons, who also wrote a letter to Minister Reid, and in his letter he also dealt with the subject of seal pelts, and that's where it stands right now. We haven't had a reply from Minister Reid, but information which Council have received is that there will be seal pelts going from the province again this year in an on-process stage. Council was in receipt of a letter from under a committee. The title of it is Understanding the Early Years. They expressed some concerns to Council over our playground, and Council fully agrees that, you know, the playground in time does come in for a little bit of, I guess you call it vandalism and so on and so forth. Council doesn't have the funds to supervise the playground on a full-time basis. There is one piece of equipment that seems to attract more vandalism than the other. That is that wooden structure which was built some years ago. In light of that, Council has decided this year that if the problems persist with that piece of equipment, then probably we'll have to remove it from the playground. But having said that, you know, if there's committees and people who appreciate the playground, using the playground, we certainly would like to see them get involved and probably do a bit of supervision on the playground. If there's organizations out there that really want to get involved with the youth and so on, then you know, if we could, if they could set up a supervision type of thing where a couple of parents would go to the playground during certain hours and conduct supervision, it certainly would be appreciated. And when they see something that's dangerous on the playground, report it to Council so that we can take care of it. The playground is there, it's there for everybody, and hopefully we can keep it operating and maintain it. Another subject which we haven't been talking about much, and that is the fish plant. And I'm sure that for some of you, you wonder if anything is being done with regard to the fish plant, or if it went right off the radar screen completely. Well, I can assure you that's not the case. And even though we haven't been doing any talking about it, the Council have been quite active in different initiatives to try to bring things forward and see if something can be done to get the plant open. We haven't been saying very much due to the fact that, you know, we don't want to say we're going to do this or do that, or we're working on this or working on that, because it gets hopes up, and then it comes to nothing, and then everything all falls apart again. But you know, I would just like to pass on to you that the Council, along with Mr. Illier, Greg Illier, we have been working very, very actively in trying to rejuvenate the plant. There was an initiative which we worked on quite a bit last year. All I'll say to you is that it was with a Filipino company. It didn't work out, and so that's one more you chalk up. And presently we are working on different initiatives, and with that regard, Mr. Parsons and our MP, Mr. Bill Matthews, will be in Burgeo on February the 21st to hold a meeting with the Council and with some or all members of BDDV. I'm not sure there. So, you know, this is just out exploring and trying to find something. What, we don't know. And we seems to always have something, you know. There's always something we're working on, and as I said before, it's no point in talking about it until we feel certain that it's going to go somewhere. I have got to say, you know, with regards to our MHA, Calvin Parsons, and our MP, Bill Matthews, anything that the Council have seen that might go somewhere, it's just a matter of contacting them, and you know, we've never had any trouble getting them to come on side and to attend. So therefore, you know, they appear to me to be doing the best that they can do also. I'll just give you some idea with regard to this meeting on the 21st. That's on a Friday. Bill Matthews will be flying out of Ottawa on Thursday, the 20th, come into Deer Lake, down to Burgeo, attend the meeting 11 o'clock that morning, Friday morning, and then he's got to get back in time to get back to Ottawa again for that evening. So, you know, it's quite a bit of travel, And this is what I've found every time I've tried, you know, that if there's something there and his presence is needed, that he certainly do put every effort he can into trying to come to Burgeo whenever there's something that he feels that he should be there for. So, you know, council is doing its best, the BDDB is doing its best, and even though you mightn't hear that anything is being done with regard to the fish plant, there's ongoing discussions on a continuous basis. Mr. Gordon Snow, consulting firm in Ottawa, has really been helpful to us, and he's just exploring every avenue that there is there to explore. I guess the main subject which we've been dealing with since my last report has been the budget for the year 2003. Now, there's been quite a bit of going back and forth and twisting figures from one side to the other and so on, but we have put together a budget for the year 2003 and it's been accepted. There is no tax increases for the year 2003 as far as we can see. We may have to revise our budget later on in the year. You know, there's so many variables and questions that we can't get answers to for the year 2003 that you know, it was almost impossible to put together a budget and say that's it. But anyway, we have put together a budget, and the budget is in the amount of $688,949. And that's the revenue, and of course the expenditure is the same. The last time I spoke to you, if you can recall, we had a $27,000 figure there that we would have had to take money from some savings that the town had. So we did several things to try and get rid of that. One, for some years now, we've been contributing $10,000 to the BDDB. That's for the Economic Development Officer's position. And we certainly feel that we've been getting good value for that $10,000. However, no one else, no other town has been contributing to the EDO position. And information coming back to us, no other town in Newfoundland has really been supporting their economic development officers through the zone boards. So therefore, it was agreed by council that we would have to cut off this $10,000 in funding. Now, given that, we still do give in kind $6,000 to the BDDB for office space. We do not charge them for their office space, and that is valued at $6,000. So, you know, we are still carrying on that. However, we did cut the $10,000. We had an estimate of $25,000 for snow clearing. Council felt that given that the main road in Centennial Street was no longer in our road clearing, that we should be able to cut that sum. So therefore, we chopped $5,000 off there, which brought that down to $20,000. And I suppose we're going to get enough snow this year that'll make up for losing the other road. But you know, these are some of the things. One thing we couldn't do much about, and I just find this worthy of mention, you know, the town of Burgeo uses $12,000 a year in road salt. That's what road salt costs the town of Burgeo. To me, it looks like a big figure. You know, given that about 4 months a year from January to December that you would be using salt, and you know, you're talking $3,000 a month for salt. So you know, when you're complaining not enough salt and it's slippery and one thing or the other, I think sometimes you should stop and think, you know, that salt is expensive stuff. Anyway, we did get rid of the $27,000 overrun that we had, and we adjusted the operation of the water system so that we're estimating it's going to cost $92,392. That's for this year. So hopefully that we can stay within those figures, and if we can, well, then there won't be any need for a revised budget. However, The only thing that saved us this year from a tax increase was that we had some debentures on the old water system and so on that matured in the year 2002. So we had a lot of debt payments in 2002 that we didn't have in 2003. Guaranteed eventually down the road, you know, you're definitely going to be facing some increase in taxes. The town just can't go on forever and a day at the same tax rate. The budget, naturally enough, as you can see, it was a budget just to get us through. It's a do-nothing budget. However, we did maintain the $10,000 for recreational purposes, and so that's still in our budget, and hopefully that something can be done in the line of providing something for our youth. That was just about it with council, what council's been dealing with over the last month or so. Councillor McDonald, I think some while ago, Minister Parsons mentioned cell phone. Councillor McDonald reported to council that he have had conversations with Newtel Mobility, and they think there's some way that they can provide some more cell phone coverage on the Burgeo Road. And so they're looking at something for the Rocky Ridge Towers and the Annie-Opscotch Towers, but that won't come about until the mobile system has been turned down. Council, in its position to the CRTC, if you can recall, was that we didn't feel that the mobile system should be turned down until there was something to replace it. And that replacement we had alluded to should be cell phone coverage. Now, this is nothing to say you're going to get cell phone. I mean, the company's not sure themselves yet. But they are looking at some options, apparently, whereby they may be able to extend the cell phone coverage and give a little more coverage on the Burgeo Road. So, you know, the thing of the cell phone, it's still being looked at. Just because you don't air anything doesn't mean that that the wheels are not turning. There's just one more thing I'd like to report on, and that is our ducks. Our duck population is now down to 4, and so you know we got 3 drakes and 1 duck. So the possibility, I guess, of that increasing is getting a little bit slimmer all the time. You know, we lost a few ducks over there where they were staying in the area of the school. I think dogs played a pretty rough on them. Burgeo certainly can't afford a dog catcher, and you know, there's some dogs that are roaming. Anyway, that's what we're down to. We had 9 ducks when we started, and when the ice came on the pond and so on, and now we're down to 4. So, you know, I just let you know that roaming dogs do cause damage. There's a black Labrador Retriever that seems to be on the go all the time. No one seems to able to identify it, or they're reluctant to identify the dog, but it is a black lab. I'm sure that everyone has seen it, and maybe something can be done about it in the future. It's been reported to the RCMP, and that's it. But the other thing with the dogs now, I see that the Calder Health Care Center's got something on about roaming dogs and rabies and so on. So, you know, there's always a possibility of that. It's on the Northern Peninsula, but we know how fast things can move. So that's it for council for this week, and we'll see you next time.
Stay with us for Off the Rack, the community events, and the BBS Playbill, all after this.
Dear Mrs. Coleman, you don't know me, but I know you know my old red house at the end of the lane. Please forgive me for tracking you down, but I had to thank you. I'm not sure what inspired your kindness, but oh, it's a godsend. Since my wretched hip surgery, Just getting to the end of the lane and back takes nearly half an hour, and sometimes the pain just isn't worth it. You brought me something much more important than newspapers. You brought me the understanding that it's the small, the simple things that really help people.
If you're doing just a little, you're helping a lot. From the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Off the rack. This week, as we scanned our tape rack, we came across a tape of a winter storm Burgio experienced. Let's look back to February the 3rd, 1992. Good evening. Welcome to the community event segment of tonight's broadcast. I'm Rebecca Young. The winner of the preschool TV bingo was Krista Standing. Congratulations, Krista. The next scheduled TV bingo will be hosted by the Lioness on Wednesday, February 12th at 7 p.m. Cards are $1 each, or $6 or $5, and are available from any Lioness member and are in most stores around town. Please support the Lioness, play a TV bingo, and you could win $300. Have you ordered your Valentine balloon yet? If not, you still have time and they only cost $1. To order, you may contact any member of the Guiding Movement, or you may call Kim at 2209, Liz 2324, Lisa at 2076, or Grace at 886-2117. The last day to order balloons is Monday, February 10th. The ICW invites all ladies to a greenback shower on Monday, February 10th in the parish hall. All proceeds will go towards the church furnace. Cards will start at 9 p.m. and there are lots of prizes to be won. Please come along and bring a friend. Do you have a child or children who will be 4 years old on or before December 31st, 2003? If you do and you are interested in registering them for the preschool program, please call Michelle at 886-1212. The driver examiner will be in Burgio on Wednesday, February 12th to do written and road tests as well as photo IDs. Make your Valentine feel special this Valentine's Day. Take them to the community center for a potluck supper on Sunday, February 16th. Supper costs $5 for adults and $3.50 for children under the age of 10. There will be a wide variety of dinners to choose from, plus lots of wonderful desserts. The best part is that you don't have to do the dishes. Drop by the community center on February 16th for supper and support the Lioness at the same time. If your group or organization has an upcoming event planned, we would be happy to advertise it for you. Just call the BBS office by Wednesday of each week to have items included in this portion of our broadcast. That concludes the community event segment of tonight's broadcast. See you next week. BBS Playbill. Tune in on Tuesday for a rebroadcast of Pansy's Garden. Try your luck on Wednesday by playing Lioness TV Bingo. On Thursday we'll have a rebroadcast of The Bandwagon. Join Pansy and the gang for 2 stories, a craft, and lots of fun on Saturday morning at 11 a.m. on Pansy's Garden. And I'll be here again next week with This Week in Review. Please stay tuned now for The Bandwagon. For This Week in Review, I'm Marie Rose. Good night and God bless.